Good morning and happy Sunday. Today we wish to congratulate our 2020 graduates. Our high school graduates are Zaire Creighton, graduate of R.J. Reynolds High School, and will be attending A&T State University. Kimberly Gregg, graduate of Atkins High School, and will be attending North Carolina Central University. Our college graduates are Erica Alexander, graduate of Winston-Salem State University with the Bachelor of Social Work. Maya Alexander, graduate of Winston-Salem State University with the Bachelor of Science Nursing. Trejon Douthit, graduate of North Carolina A&T State University with a degree in Mass Communication and Mass Media. Treandria Farid, graduate of Appalachian State University with a degree in Accounting. Taylor Miles, graduate of Hampton University with a Bachelor of Arts, major in Liberal Studies with concentration in Education. Jada Moore, graduate of North Carolina A&T State University with a Bachelor's of Science in Sports Medicine and Fitness Management. And Mr. Morgan Scrivens, graduate of Livingston College with major in Criminal Justice, minor in Sociology, Law Enforcement. Congratulations, graduates. Our birthday calendar for the week, beginning today, Sunday, June the 21st. Brianna Walker. On Monday, June the 22nd, August Polite, Morgan Scriven, Adrian Williams, and Gretia Yancey. On Tuesday, June the 23rd, Christine Van Eaton, Valerie Canty, and Brian Hampton. On Wednesday, June the 24th, Patricia Jenkins. On Thursday, June the 25th, Chelsea Hush. On Friday, June the 26th, there were no birthdays listed. And on Saturday, June the 27th, Barbara Lee. Today we wish you a very happy birthday. Thought for the week. Sometimes in life, your situation will keep repeating itself until you learn your lesson. Have a great week and be blessed.
Shine For the time that is ours, and certainly with the help of the Holy Spirit, we want to talk to you from this thought. Don't count us out yet.
All right. Amen.
Or as the millennials will say, don't sleep on me.
Yeah.
If you could embrace one idea that would help you create a healthier, happier, and more productive life, it's the idea that tension is not a negative thing you're trying to avoid. Tension is a constructive thing you should actively engage. This statement is not to encourage anyone that being a troublemaker is a good thing. but it is to say that engaging tension in a way that will address issues that hurt people and productivity can cause us to identify problems around us and make our lives better than if we try to avoid tension and choose to shorten our lives and stress our minds by suffering in silence.
My Lord.
Now understand that we do not need to engage in just any kind of tension. What we must understand today is that there is a such thing as bad tension, and there is also a such thing as good tension. Bad tension is disruptive. It's unproductive tension that comes from you thinking that you need to win people over to your side. Bad tension does not consider an entire situation. Bad tension is trying to get everyone to jump upon one point of view.
My Lord. All right.
The unproductive tension mindset is that giving in equals will not work. It's about getting your voice heard. It's about being persuasive. It's about winning the day. That's just a nice way of saying that it's about being a rigid troublemaker. Of course, the problem is that your people are being equally rigid in defending your point of view with you. So the whole dynamic feels like a tug of war that is only resolved when the mightier side gives that one good yank and that everybody on the other side lands on their backsides in defeat. I can see why some people are fed up with that kind of tension.
My Lord.
But then there's a such thing as good tension. Good tension is productive. It's positive tension that comes from thinking, believing, knowing that you are responsible for advocating for your point of view without trying to win an entire room to your side. And then engaging in a spirited debate about how to optimize the decision based on all of the points of view in the room. In this model, staying on your initial position would be silly. You're just bringing one ingredient and then figuring out what you can make when you combine it with the other ingredients in the room. Instead of picturing a tug of war, good tension is like picturing a tarp. And everybody grabs a corner of the tarp. And every person pulls in a different direction to get the tarp to spread out so it can show an entire picture of beauty. When the tension is balanced, you cover most ground. Fortunately for you and I, it appears that our country is starting to move into the direction of good tension. I tell you, I've lived through the Rodney King riots. I've lived and participated in the affirmative action protests. I've participated in the Trayvon Martin viewings. I participated even in the Freddie Gray protest in Baltimore right up the street.
My Lord.
But never in my lifetime have I seen these tensions turn into what is starting to look like good tensions of today.
Come on.
Finally, we're starting to seem to have the tarp pulled in every corner, and a pretty picture of equity is starting to show. And even though there are still some unmoving, some mean, some hateful, racist people in this world trying to make their voice heard, finally we're starting to get statements from police departments, from white religious leaders. We're starting to get statements from the NFL and the NBA, the U.S. military, and even people of influence finally saying that enough is enough. Things are not right, and we have have to change. It does my heart good to see police departments disbanding the use of the chokehold. Why? Because things have got to change. It does my heart good to see white religious leaders starting to admit that they have lived under the advantage of white privilege, because things have got to change. It's good to see even the military banning the usage of the Confederate flag, because they understand that things have got to change. And I shout to glory that the NFL finally said we were wrong about the peaceful protest of Colin Kaepernick, and things have got to change. But I came to tell somebody that I got good news for you. I serve a God who is in the thing-changing business. Is there anybody that believes like grandma and them that prayer still changes things? When you believe God, God will change things. Anybody believe that God's hand is more powerful than man's hand? And when things have got to change and we keep pushing, we keep striving, we keep peacefully protesting, we keep praying, we keep worshiping, we keep thanking God, we keep thanking God in the midst of our sorrows. I serve a God who is able to make things change. And the healing of our nation will only happen if we continue to engage in this good tension. The healing of your family will only happen if you engage in good tension. The healing on your job will only happen if you learn to engage in good tension. That's why we have to keep marching until black men are safe in the presence of white policemen. That's why we have to keep standing until black women like Breonna Taylor don't get shot just for standing in her own house. We have to keep speaking until there is justice for George Floyd. And we have to keep pushing for the future of the brilliant black babies that are coming behind you and me. That's why no matter how discouraging things may seem, no matter how much we feel like the past has not been good to us, no matter who is sitting in the White House, white, black, or orange, no matter how racist two white men were in Georgia who shot a black man for just exercising, with God on our side, don't count us out yet. God has more for you to do. Don't count us out yet. It may seem like some tension is going to be on the journey, but don't count us out yet. You may want to give up sometimes and throw in the towel, but don't count us out yet. They may attack you because of your anointing, but don't count us out yet. They may lie on you because they don't like you, but don't count us out yet. Greater is He that's in me than he that's in the world. So in today's scripture, we encounter King Hezekiah. Hezekiah is dealing with a sickness, and we are so told that the sickness is a terminal illness. That means this man is about to die. I mean, they say that it looks bad for Hezekiah. There's no hope for Hezekiah. So what did Hezekiah have? Well, if you study the backdrop of the text, it teaches us that Hezekiah had boils growing all over his skin. My Lord. And everyone around him had given up on him because of what they saw on his skin. Right. Even the prophet Isaiah showed up to tell Hezekiah, man, get your house in order, because you will die and you will not live. Why, prophet? Because of what's on your skin. Let me see if I can help you. The prophet is like, king, your skin suggests that by 21 years old, you will either have been to jail or at least had a run-in with the law. Your skin suggests that your life expectancy is shorter than someone else whose skin does not look like yours. King, your skin seems to say that you won't be able to save your people or anybody coming behind you from being taken over by the Assyrians. King, your skin says that you ought to give up and throw in the towel. But is there anybody in here that knows you can't judge a child of God based on their skin? It's not about what's on their skin. Yes, my black is beautiful. My black is the best thing in the world. But don't you judge me based on what my skin looks like, because I have so much more on the inside of me. I am more than my skin. I have a heart that feels. I have a drive that has ambition. I have a mind that is brilliant. Is there anybody in here that can tell somebody, don't you count me out because of what you see on my skin? Don't you put your knee on my neck because of what you see on my skin? Don't you shoot me while I'm jogging because of what you see on my skin? Don't you shoot me while I'm walking around my own doggone house because of what you see on my skin?
Preach, sir.
So,
Preach the word.
this is the part that makes me happy. Hezekiah gets with God and says, God, you and I are about to have some good tension. I heard, God, that you said to get my house in order because I'm going to die and I'm not going to live. Hezekiah says, God, I cannot deal with that outcome right now. Much more I want to do. Much more I want to see. God, I cannot deal with this. So what does he do? He goes into a prayerful and peaceful protest with God. We're told that he turns his face to the wall to say, I'm not going out without some tension. I'm not going out without a fight. Hezekiah said, God, please don't count me out yet. Has anybody ever been there? Have you ever felt so bad that the devil told you to throw in the towel? Matter of fact, the people you love at church told you to give up. But you said, God, don't count me out yet. There's more that I want to do for you, God. There's more on the inside of me, God. Please don't sleep on me because of what I am in or what I look like. God, don't count me out yet. So, I know somebody in here, you've been in a situation where people wanted to count you out. But God told me to tell you today, be not weary in well-doing, because you will reap a great harvest if you faint not. So, I can tell you right here what I want you to do as a result of hearing this message. And that would be, live your life every day as if defeat is not an option. Yeah. That's how you live every day. I don't care who's in the White House. I don't care how racist the police chief somewhere may be. I don't care what's going on. With God on your side, you have to learn to live every day of your life as if defeat is never an option, because your God is undefeated. Okay, so how do I live my life as if defeat is not an option, regardless of the color of my skin? Well, Hezekiah is going to teach us a few things that shout at me. I don't know what it's going to do for you, but here it is. We are going to be able to live our life as if defeat is not an option, because we're, number one, we're going to be socially conscious. Woo, Lord have mercy. You know, the text says that he turned his face to the wall. Now, that makes sense to me historically for where he lives. Because if you've ever been to Jerusalem, you know that there's a such thing called the Wailing Wall.
That's right.
The Wailing Wall is where people put their face against the wall to pray. Many people write their petitions to God and they stick them in the slits of the Wailing Wall, because they believe that that's where the presence of God rests heavily in Jerusalem. Now, I know somebody in here is a theologian and you're very theological and you're saying, but God is everywhere. But there are some places where God's presence chooses to shine more than it shines in other places. That's what we call the favor of God on your life. That's why somebody hating on you right now. They don't know why you shine so much. It's because of the favor of God that rests on your life. So there is the Wailing Wall. So it makes sense historically, but when I think about it spiritually, it makes me wonder, why does he turn his face toward the wall? Because when most of us are facing adverse circumstances, we say what? Our backs are up against the wall. But he takes the time to turn his face to the wall. So what does that mean, saints? Well, I'm so glad I went to Virginia Union and took my preaching class there, because my correlative preaching professor said most of the time the best preaching is not what you read on the line, but what you read in between the lines. So what happened? If he turned his face toward the wall, he had to turn his back on something else. Come here, somebody. Yeah, he had to turn his back on those who were already trying to figure out his replacement. He had to turn his back on those who did not believe that he could be healed. He had to turn his back on people who was waiting for him to go so that they can put their new agenda ahead. So he was socially conscious enough to not link up and pray with people who didn't have enough faith to believe that he would be healed. So he turned his back on the circumstances and turned his face toward the wall because he was conscious of what was going on around him. Can I help somebody in here today? And on Facebook Live, I came to tell you that you have to be socially conscious if you're going to live your life in a way that defeat is not an option. You have to know what's going on in the world so that you'll know what to pray for and who to pray for. You have to know what's going on around you so that you'll know where the booby traps are that are being set up for you as black people in your life, and you can turn around and skip over the booby traps, the minefields and the landfills. Is there somebody in here that knows when you know what's going on around you, you can make better plans for your life, you can make better plans for your children, but you can't do it if you're so holy that you can't pick up another book and read what's going on in the world today. If you can't get on the internet to see what President Trump has said today, if you can't get on CNN and see what lies the Republican Party are trying to push today, you have to be socially conscious to know that even though the world has a mess going on right now, I serve a God who can keep me, who can prepare me, and who can take me over. And is there somebody that'll give some hearts up and thumbs up that'll say that the Lord has the power to take you over? I don't care what's coming at you, the God that you serve has the power to take you over. They may try to come against your skin, they may try to come against your race, they may try to come against your sexuality, they may try to come against everything about you, but is there anybody that says, I serve a God who says I am more than a conqueror, because I know what he can do, and I know he's able to get me over everything trying to tear me down in my social surroundings. So Hezekiah teaches us that we are going to have to understand that we got to be socially conscious. You have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to know what's going on in the world that you live in so that defeat is not an option, because you know what's coming your way. You got to know where to turn your face to and what to put your back to. And you got to learn to put your back on the things that's trying to replace you. Oh, God. So he teaches us that, number one, we have to be socially conscious. The next thing he teaches us is that if you're going to live your life as if defeat is not an option, regardless of the color of your skin, you must, number two, have a passion for life. God have mercy.
My Lord, my Lord.
I tell you, saints, I have been a minister for a while now, and I have walked into some sick rooms and people have already given up. This man, he gets a word from a prophet of God with a good reputation for being accurate about what God has said.
That's right.
Isaiah, not just any bootleg preacher. Isaiah came to his sick room and said, God said that you will not live, you gonna die, so get your house in order.
Come on.
That would have made most people give up right there. But what does King Hezekiah do? Bible says he turns his face to the wall. And the first thing he does is he prays. And the second thing he does, the Bible tells us, is he wept bitterly. That means he cried real ugly. That means he cried until snot was dripping out his nose. That means he cried until his skin turned colors. That means he cried until his eyes puffed up. He wept bitterly after he prayed. What does prayer and weeping combined mean? That means that he had such a passion for life. Even in the face of a word that came from God, he says, God, please don't let it end like this. How many of us have such a passion for life that you can hear something that comes from somewhere that you trust and you still say, guess what, God, I don't believe it. I can't let it go out like this. I still have a passion to live. God, it can't be over yet. No, that's how somebody got over cancer. They told you it was cancer, but you prayed and you wept bitterly because you said, God, I can't let cancer defeat me like this. Is there somebody that's ever got a diagnosis so bad that you already thought you were defeated? You thought you were physically defeated. You thought you were emotionally defeated. You thought you were mentally defeated. But you got on your knees and you said, Father, I stretch my hands to thee. No other help I know. If thou withdraw thyself from me, oh, whither shall I go? He wept bitterly. He did not want to give up. He was still thirsting for life. And can I get real theological right here? One commentator said, this is what makes King Hezekiah look like what they call a type of Christ. What's a type of Christ? In the Old Testament, we get scriptures and psalms that point us to Christ, that gives us the characteristics of Jesus Christ. And so in this text, Hezekiah is looked at as a type of Christ. Why? Because he wept bitterly and he still prayed at the point of death. And how many of us remember that when Jesus Christ was on the cross, he prayed at the point of death, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing. He wept at the point of death, saying, I thirst. Jesus, it's inevitable. You're going to die. Why prolong the death by getting something to drink to hydrate your body and hang on that cross even longer? But Jesus said, no, I still thirst. I'm going to stick around until it's over. I'm going to drink and stay hydrated until it's over. And Hezekiah says the same thing here. I know it looks dim. I know it looks dark, but I'm not going to give up until God says it's over. And how many of us out here today, we're going to keep praying until God says it's over. We're going to keep crying out until God says it's over. We're going to keep protesting until God says it's over. We're going to keep trying until God says it's over. We're going to keep standing for justice until God says it's over. So saints of God, he teaches us that if we're going to live as if defeat is not an option, the first thing is you have to be socially conscious. Be aware of your surroundings. Know what to turn your face to. Know what to turn your back to. Number two, he says you must have a passion for life. Doesn't matter how bad it looks. You have to keep praying and keep crying out until God says it's over. Number three, and this is the point that blessed me. I hope it blesses you. Number three, you must have a supernatural response for every natural diagnosis.
Wow. My Lord.
Okay, you know why a lot of people don't like preaching this text? Some people say that it is a contradiction to Scripture because God is not a man that God should lie, nor should he change his mind. If he says it, he will do it. and it will come to pass. Woo, Lord have mercy.
Come on, Pastor.
So some people argue
Make it plain.
that God first says, get your house in order because you're going to die and you will not live. Then Hezekiah prays. And when Hezekiah prays, what happens then? When Hezekiah prays, the prophet turns around. And when the prophet turns around, what happens? He says, God now says, you will live and you will not die.
Come on.
So many people take this as God changing God's mind. But this is not God changing God's mind. This is God working with someone who was on their sick bed.
Come on.
Why do you say that, preacher? Because what God gave Hezekiah was a natural diagnosis.
Come on. Talk, Pastor.
The truth of the matter is that people who had this skin disorder, they typically did not make it. People with this skin disorder, they died.
Come on.
So what God does is he sends the prophet to give him a natural diagnosis. It seems to be a test, because if Hezekiah does not pray, then Isaiah does not get a new word. That's why y'all got to pray for the preacher all the time, so that God can give the preacher a word that will bless your life. So he prays and the prophet gets a new word. When the prophet gets a new word, he turns back to say, God has now said that you will receive 15 more years. So in 3 days, another type of Christ. Get up. He got up on the third day. Go to the house of the Lord. And when you go to the house of the Lord, that's when I'm going to add 15 years to your life. That's when I'm going to give you the power to hold back the Assyrian army. Somebody missed their Holy Ghost good shout right there, because there was a natural diagnosis, but Hezekiah gave a supernatural response. He turned his face to the wall and he lifted up his voice before the Lord, like, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Everybody, you got a supernatural response for every natural diagnosis. I don't care what it looks like. You can open up your mouth and go to God in prayer. That's why the hymnologist says, what a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. Everything there is to carry, you can carry it to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit, and oh, what needless pains we bear, all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. And when Hezekiah prayed, I could see his prayer climbing up the wall, out of the palace, onward to heaven. God got the prayer. Then he shouted to the prophet and told the prophet, because of this prayer, I need you to turn around. Is there anybody here that knows when you pray, God will turn things around? Is there anybody that knows he'll turn your sorrow to joy? He'll turn your chaos to peace. He'll turn your brokenness to wealth. He will turn your pain into pleasure. Is there somebody that knows he'll turn your lemons into lemonade? Is there somebody that knows that God will turn it around? to protect you. He is able to love you when nobody else wants to love you. He will turn it around. And I'm so glad that he healed Hezekiah and gave him 15 more years. You want to know what I believe? God gave a limit to the time he had left, because I believe that God said, I want you to learn how to enjoy your life one day at a time. Is there somebody here that knows you can't count me out? Because I live every day as it's my last day. I live every day as if I'm going to win. I live every day as if God is on my side. I live every day like I got the victory. That is why I lift my hands, because all I do is win. When I walk in the sanctuary, my hands go up and they stay there. They stay there. They stay there in the name of Jesus. Is there anybody that want to live like you're going to win? Lift your hands, open your mouth, and say thank you, because I got the victory. Thank you for looking beyond all my faults and seeing all my needs. If there's anybody who believes that you're going to win, type in the comments, weeping may endure for a night, but come in the morning. Do you believe? Do you believe that joy is on the way? If you know it's on the way, say yes, 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 Tell somebody, don't count me out. Don't sleep on me. Please be patient with me. For God is not through with us yet. Praise be to God, from whom all blessings flow. Don't throw in the towel. Don't let anybody count you out because of what's on your skin. Let's thank God that with God on our side, we don't have to be counted out. He is able. I tell you, he is able to do anything but fail.